Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Live in Conversation. I am your host, René Antoine, with my lovely co-host, attorney Daphnée Camilien. Hey, Daphnée, how you doing?
Good, good, good. How are you?
I am great. It was a fabulous day. Stay home with the babies, as always. Did a live this morning, so life is good. What have you been up to today?
Uh, it's
You saw
that,
that?
that's Wednesdays, busy Wednesdays. They say it's hump day, it's the middle of the week, but it's usually my busiest day for whatever reason. So it's busy, but that's good. That's good.
That's good. Busy is good. Busy is good. So we have a lot to discuss on this evening. So let's get right into it. So I do want to acknowledge our new audience. I see you all joining us. Come on in, kindly share this live because we have a few things we're gonna talk about. It's still the new year. January is still the new year. You know, it's so once it stop being February, then I'll stop saying Happy New Year. So Happy New Year, all. I hope your week is going well. It is Hump Day. So with that being said, part of what we do with Live in Conversation is to come here, and we did change our format. We did explain that. So right now, it's all about what matters to you. So we're always gonna come here to talk about, the news, obviously, what's going on in our community, in our country, but we're always gonna bring you our expertise as well. And then so Daphne Camillion always share on the disclosure with us. So let me have her say that before we get right into it.
Yeah, we're talking about anything we say is for entertainment purposes only. I am an attorney, however, I'm not your attorney yet.
That yet.
So any information I'm saying is not personal advice to any particular person. And Renee works in the financial industry, and it's the same. Any advice that she's saying is not personal to that particular person. It's just general information that we are giving out. So hopefully you'll take it as so.
Awesome, awesome. So something historic, shall I say,
Yes.
happened today. So let me have you start that conversation. What was the biggest historic first time ever done in U.S. politics today?
So today is January 13, 2021, and today President Donald Trump was impeached for the second time, which is historic. I believe this is his second impeachment within 1 year. I don't even think a full year has passed since he was impeached the first time. So there's many firsts. Donald Trump's administration, whatever your beliefs are, his was always going to go down in history because of some of the norms that he has challenged. But this is very interesting, unprecedented. This is stuff that 100 years from now, historians will be studying and talking about. Kids will learn about this in the classroom. That we had a U.S. president that was impeached twice.
So, like, what does that mean, though? What does impeachment mean? Like, what are the consequences of that?
So it's the first step, right? So it's, can he get impeached? It's like they brought this charge against him, right? Now it has to go to the next branch, which is the next side, which is the Senate, right? And the Senate's already kind of, they're hinting that people want them to have a hearing, and they're already hinting, what's the rush? Let's not do this right now. Let's wait. So most people believe that, or they're speculating, like the news is speculating, that there won't be an actual hearing in the Senate until the new president, President Biden, takes office. And even after that, other people were Biden's side that he didn't want to take it up immediately. And so this might not even come to a vote until a month or two after his administration takes power. and then you also need I believe you need a majority. So so we'll see. It may not he may not it may not pass through the Senate, but the impeachment, the accusation for him to even be was started, and that part for sure will go into history. Regard the whole thing starting last week with the insurrection of people trying to the coup d'état, as we we're familiar with, of people trying to take over the government, started history, another chapter of history right in front of our eyes that we're living through.
Exactly, exactly. But then, like, like we said, like coming from Haiti, so this is not like, this is thing that we've seen, okay? But then, like, who would have expected something like that to happen in the United States of America?
Mm-hmm. 20.
So yes, it's like, what does that say about us as a country? And then I was actually, we like listening to one of the news segment about how the other countries are responding to this. And so I do believe that it definitely will negatively impact how we are seen throughout the world, and how we will lose respect, a lot of respect, for this, and then making things harder for elected President Biden. What's your
Yeah,
thought?
yeah, no, I agree. I think that we were already our stance was weakening already. We didn't, the U.S. already didn't have a lot of typical diplomats and embassies across, the world that they used to have, and to have the same presence under this current administration. And so, our I think our presence in the world and our viewpoints were already lessening. This does show us, make us look weak, the fact that this was able to occur so easily, where it appears from the media shots that it happened so easily. I think it opens us up for attack from other countries. So we always hope that's not the case, but it didn't look good.
No, not
Whether
at
you
all. It did
whatever
not
your
look good
beliefs
at
are,
all.
yeah, whatever your beliefs are, it didn't look good.
Yeah, no, 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 no. Because at the end of the day, like several of the elected officials say, it's about the Constitution, it's about the U.S., it's about us as a nation being unified. Okay, we may not be unified here in the U.S., but it has to look like, it has to appear that we unify. It's like when you're home, with your family, you know that you're about to choke your husband. But then, on the outside, you're like, oh, I love you. Anyway, so this
Right.
is me. This is not Antoine Daphnée Camilien. I'm gonna be real with you all. She's gonna be professional.
No, I mean, this is so what it was an embarrassment because the US has often gone into other countries, and what makes us so different is the whole peaceful transfer of power. And I don't think a lot of people realize that that was our thing, is that no matter what, we know how to have elections, and we know how
Exactly.
to transfer power, right? This has been going on since the 1800s. So we have that
Exactly.
reputation. So to threaten that, now we can't say, we can't go and tell someone else, hey, you do this when,
We couldn't do it.
we
We
couldn't
couldn't
do
do it. Be the example. Be the example. Exactly. Okay, so now I know we did not plan to talk about this.
it.
With
Okay.
the whole, insurrection that happened last Wednesday.
Right.
Let's talk about the hypocrisy of how he was treated,
Mm,
based on the people who were participating in it, versus how several peaceful um, protests has been handled before. What's your thought on that?
I mean, President-elect Biden. So I thought, the world is changing, right? And um, how there's all these different, we're right now in a technology revolution, whether people realize it or not. Technology is, we're in it right now, and it's changing a lot of things. President Biden, in his one of his speeches recently, had mentioned that, I think it was right after Wednesday, had said that his granddaughter texted him and was telling him, if this was Black Lives Matter, these people would have been killed, right? And for him to say that, one, he said his granddaughter texted him, which was interesting. And then two, his granddaughter is white. And she's pointing out, how hypocritical this whole entire thing was, because a lot of things that people used to be able to lie about and hide about. We know people have their
Or
phone.
justify.
You said what?
Or justify.
Right. Or justify, is we're seeing otherwise, right? And it doesn't mean that it automatically changes things, but you're having a younger generation that it's going to be harder to brainwash or to just say stuff because they see otherwise, right? And so 100%, when the Black Lives Matter protested nearby, you had National Guard on the steps, of the Capitol and other parts of Washington, D.C. And they were not even that close to it, right? But they made sure they showed that show of force. And here, this was organized. This was a domestic terrorist attack. There was people with walkie-talkies. There was police officers. There was people from all walks of life there was great police officers, but there was bad actors in there too. So this was organized. Do you know what I'm saying? So they had a mission, and they were coming there to cause problems and to disrupt the counting of the votes. So of course, if this was Black Lives Matter, we would be talking about the massacre that happened
Yes.
on January 6th.
And then you would have been all over the news being justified.
Right. They would have made right. They would have said
But
that because you
you were
can't come to the
justified.
Capitol. Right. So it's hypocritical. People. That's one of the biggest stories out of all of this, is that the difference, and they can't. There is no reasoning, but the obvious reason, which is racism, right? And that's the only there is no reasoning. They cannot hide it. They can't say there's nothing else besides that. I mean, you had a couple people die. Like
Yeah, five people died.
that's
A
horrible.
police officer died.
Horrible.
A
That's
police
horrible.
officer died. That's horrible.
That's horrible. So I mean, the whole thing is horrible. Every day more and more stuff comes out, and it's worse than what you thought, it's even more worse. They had nooses, and they were screaming to hang,
My chance.
right, the vice president, and to go after Nancy Pelosi. Like, they really wanted to hurt people,
Yes.
regardless of your political affiliation. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So yeah, so that racism is on full display,
Yeah.
right? And you can't hide it. I mean, now the question is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, nothing's going to be resolved the next day. Obviously, they're already saying, let's all heal.
Oh yes, that's all hate and saying kumbaya. No, we're not singing kumbaya.
There has
Mm-mm.
to be, there has to be consequences to the action.
Yes,
So
but
it's not.
which is, I mean, and I think that's what disheartening, because people just want, uh, okay, people expect President Trump or Trump, however you want to call him, to be Trump. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, maybe we did not expect what happened Wednesday to happen. But then to some extent, we're like, okay, this is Trump we are talking about here.
Mhm.
But what people are not expecting is for Republican, congressmen and women to not condemn it.
Mhm.
I mean, where do you draw the line?
I agree.
There's no if and buts here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People's life were in danger. Even your own life was in danger. Okay? It's
Mhm.
five people that, including a police officer, that should have never happened. And then it's disheartening to see only 10 Republicans voted for the impeachment.
Yeah, that
That's
was shocking. That was shocking.
that's why people cannot heal, because they just want them to acknowledge this is not normal. This is not normal. This is not what America is. That's why so many people, come to America. But then what you and plus that's why a lot of time America goes to other people's country to I guess to have peaceful transition of power, but then we cannot do it here.
Right. That's
That's it.
It was disheartening. It was, the whole thing was horrible,
Yeah.
horrible. Right.
Let's talk some good news.
Good news.
Good news time. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I know we were having this conversation about what's going on in our beautiful nation, the United States of America. So at the end of the day, I love this country because it gives so much opportunity, regardless of what is going on. It is still our country, so we must stay united, and we must continue to fight however we can. And when I say fight, I don't mean I go to the Capitol and you know all that nonsense. Okay, so fight by going to the polls, voting in elections and all of that. But we have some good news. So now that we have the incoming president elect Biden, what does that look like for immigration?
Well, it's hopeful,
It's
right?
hope.
It's hopeful. We will see, but it's very, very hopeful. Um, so right now there was an article that just came out in Politico, talking about Vice President Kamala Harris, or Vice President elect, for I have to say that for the next week, right? And
Yeah, elect.
Vice President elect Kamala Harris gave a little teaser as to the immigration reform that the Biden administration is hoping to implement. There are several things he's stated. He's already stated that they hope to reverse most of Trump's, policies that he has done, which the stuff that he's done by executive order, a lot of that stuff Biden can reverse. The stuff, there's going to be other reform that they're going to have to do, that they're going to have to get the Congress to vote on, so that may be more difficult. Although we have the majority now, it's not. I'm sure he wants to have bipartisan support, so we'll see. But the teasers that came out so far as what they're hoping to accomplish, and also another wonderful thing is that this is one of the first things they're trying to get out the gate. So within his first 100 days in power, this is something that Trump. This is something that Biden, President Biden elect, is hoping to get. And they're talking about TPS, a pathway to citizenship, which just means a pathway to getting a green card. Um, you were talking about DACA. So all these people who were eligible for DACA and never signed up for DACA, please, please, please go ahead and get your stuff together, your paperwork together. Go ahead and sign up for DACA so you can be, if this ever comes to fruition, we don't know. But if it comes and they provide people who have DACA, they give you the opportunity to get your green card. Please have your stuff in order. Don't regret it then. Um, they're talking about people who are, green card holders. They're who are, filling stuff out for family. They're trying to fast pace a lot of things that take for years and years and years. The immigration system is broken. It wasn't broken because of Donald Trump. It's been broken. If you talk to any immigrant who is in the United States who has sent for a family member, in another country, and they will tell you, it took 10 years, it took 15 years, it took whatever. If you're married to a spouse, it's quicker. But any other thing besides that, um, you know, especially brother, sister, those type of things take a long time, and it makes no sense. You shouldn't file for your brother in 2021 and they don't come here for 15 years, and they're approved. It's just that the visas aren't available because it's that backlogged. So there's a lot of things that they said they were going to hire more immigration judges, which will increase things going through court. There's lots of stuff happening right now. So, it's exciting. So that's something to good news for 2021. But there's a lot also going on in the country. We were just talking about what just happened at the Capitol. They're going to be dealing with this impeachment. That we have COVID-19 that's still crazy right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're hoping, I'm optimistic, but we'll see. But I still tell people, get ready. Even if it happens 2 years from now, get your paperwork ready. Start a new file. Get ready.
Why do you think somebody may, I guess, maybe hesitant to apply for DACA? What will stop them from not applying for DACA?
Right. It's coming out of the shadows, right? It's coming out. So if you've been here undocumented, you know, and you've been for, you came as a kid, you've gone to school, you've maybe gotten to a certain level, high school graduate, or if you're, the lucky few gone to college, but after college, getting that career job is difficult, because you don't have papers, right? So when you're in the shadows, as I said, like, to if you apply for DACA, you expose yourself, right? And it requires a level of trust, that by, the high idea of DACA is like a layer of protection. It also allows you to get a, a job and get work authorization. And it's letting the government know that you're undocumented, and while you're undocumented, you can still work, and they're not going to deport you once you say, "Hey, I'm undocumented." So it's just that fear that they don't want to be, um, deported if they say to the government, "Hey, I'm undocumented." But so, it is a personal decision, sometimes a family decision, to think about, is the risk. You have to look at the risk versus the reward and make the right decision for you. But if you do decide this is something you want to do, you didn't do it before, and you decide now this is the time to get your applications in. This is the time to get your paperwork together. It does require you to prove that you've been in the US for an extensive amount of time. So there's going to require school records, sometimes, doctor records. If you're, let's say you're religious, if you've, it could be some religious records. It may even require letters if you have difficulty proving stuff. So it's not something you're just going to say, today I'm going to apply for DACA and tomorrow you're going to do it. You actually have to go gather the documents and, assemble it and then send it in. So that's why I say, get your documents ready. Even if you do something, one thing a day, get it ready.
And then maybe you said it already and maybe I did not hear you. Can you go back and explain again what is DACA, what does it stand for, and who exactly qualifies for it?
Right. So DACA is Deferred, Action for Childhood Arrivals. There are set, circumstances. You had to have been in the you had to have been, by the time you apply for DACA. Um, Hold on. There's this. I don't want to tell you the date. I think it's June 2012. You have to have been in the U.S. You have to have been in the U.S. continuously. I'm gonna double check that date because I don't want to tell you the wrong date. But, there is a level of criteria. You can go to USCIS.gov, and, just put in your search, button DACA. The application is 821 I-821, and they'll tell you the criteria. But I will come back and tell you that because I don't want to tell you the wrong date that you have to have been here. Oh, perfect. She already pulled it up. And so, right. So it's for people who came here. The idea is, if you came here, your parents brought you here as a minor, right? You've been in the US and you don't have documentation, or even for people who came here on a visitor visa, overstayed their visa as a minor and are still here. As long as you are in school or have graduated, or are seeking GED, there are other criteria, but as long as you have those criteria, you can go ahead and apply. You can, there are certain misdemeanors that you can have, felonies. There are things that may bar you from being able to apply for DACA. So you do have to look at the criteria before, you go ahead and, apply, to make sure that you even qualify, so you don't waste the money or even expose yourself in that way. But that's just, and so the benefit of having DACA is that you can now get work authorization. So you can go get a job and you don't have to be in the shadows, and, you can renew it. It's good for 2 years. And then once you've had it, renewing it is fairly simple. It's the same application. You keep your first application. If you got a job, change job, you make any edits or changes, but once you have it, you just renew it every 2 years. And so, people who've had DACA have renewed it multiple times, since receiving DACA under, President Obama's administration. So it is a benefit. And as I was saying, a pathway, if under Biden's administration, they provide people, if they say, hey, if you have DACA, fill out this form, or, you've had to have DACA for 2 years or whatever, and, we'll allow you to get a green card. That is big. And it affects there's about, I think there was around they call them dreamers, around 800,000 people. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Renee. So as she stepped aside just for a second, I do want to say, you could always reach out to me if you had any questions about it. It is more complicated. I wouldn't suggest that you do it on your own. If and you don't have to, let me say this, you do not have to have an attorney to file your DACA. If you want an attorney, especially if it's your first time, I would suggest, I always suggest to get an attorney right first. But I'm going to be, people do it on their own. There's plenty of organizations that are helping people. There's clinics that are helping people, legal clinics that are helping people. So there is help out there. If you do, what I will suggest 150%, you can delay your process if you don't fill out the application correctly and don't provide the paperwork. You must provide all the paperwork that they're asking you. If you have a criminal background, if you've ever been arrested, anything like that, even if you weren't convicted, your case is going to be slightly more complicated. It doesn't mean you won't get DACA, but and it just depends what the arrest was for. There's a lot of things that go into it. So you want to make sure that you have, what you need to have when you present yourself to USCIS. So I would recommend that you go ahead and get some type of assistance. Like I said, there's lots of clinics out there, or you can contact me as well. But at least do your research, do your due diligence.
All right. Well, awesome, awesome. Thank you for clarifying that and to let our audience know about, what available for them right now. And we're not saying that they're gonna get it, but then obviously it's hopeful. And then so hopefully they can go forward in providing those means to allow people to be here legally and to work legally and pay taxes and to just contribute to society as they would like to. So with that being said, let us move on. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining. This is Live in Conversation. We are here every Wednesday sharing you with you all information to help you succeed in life. And then so it's still the new year. So we want to talk about some, I guess, key item that we must have in place right now to ensure that we have a
Oh, wait, hold
financial
on.
home
Sorry.
in
Let
order.
me interrupt you because I just wanted to make sure um, you had to, because I was telling you that June date, I didn't want to mess it up. You had to have had no lawful status. That means you had you're undocumented or overstayed on June 15th, 2012, and you were also on June 15th, 2012. You had to have been under the age of 31. So in June 15th, 2012, if you were 35, you do not qualify for DACA. And on June 15th, 2012, if you had just arrived in the U.S. on a visitor visa and you were still there under the visitor visa and it hadn't expired, you wouldn't qualify for DACA. So I just wanted to point that out since we just talked about it. Yes.
No, no, awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. Definitely. So June 15, 2012 is the date.
Right.
So you must be younger than 31,
Right.
31 or younger,
Right.
no legal status, and that including having a visa.
Right. So you could have a visa, but so if your visa expires, right, and you're in the US, you lose your legal status. So your legal status was a Visa card holder, a visitor visa, but once it expires and you're still in the United States, you no longer have status anymore.
Makes sense. Awesome. Okay, so should we get into
2021.
2021? Let's get into 2021. So talking about putting our financial home in order. Or let's talk about, as a matter of fact, let's talk about what COVID-19 taught us that we can apply in 2021. Like, what was your main lesson for 29? No, 2020. 2020. I'm sorry. COVID-19 confused me. 2020.
Um, it gave a little bit of time. It made I think it made everybody slow down. It made me slow down for sure because I couldn't be out and about, like normal, So which when you have a little bit of time, sometimes you're thinking more, which we all need to do anyway. When you're always running from one activity to the other, there's a lot of things you want to accomplish, you're not able to accomplish. So, uh, 2020 definitely taught me to slow down and to also appreciate, the people around you, your family, the elders, friends, reaching out to people, checking on people, appreciating when people checked on you. So just like a feeling of appreciation was 2020, and I want to take that into 2021. I want to, we're still under, somewhat of a lockdown because of COVID, but I want to slow down a little bit, and I want to because we're not always going to be like this. I don't anticipate all of 2021 to be like this. Maybe until summer, maybe until after summer, once more and more people get vaccinated. I think things will open up more, for sure. So I know, and then people will just be talking about, oh, what about 2020? But I want to remember to slow down. I thought that was really important. Oh, you're on mute.
All right. So you know, like with 2020, and then obviously there's a lot of people who had some hardships during 2020 and who lost family members, and definitely, I am sympathetic to that. So anyone who went through a hard time in 2020 and who lost a loved one, definitely that's a hard time for them. But then for me and my family, I can say 2020 was a time for us to kind of like start over. It
Mhm.
was a time to just reflect. It was a time to sit down and see exactly, how we move forward. I think for some of us, 2020 was an opportunity for us to rethink how we're going, like on a what do you call it, on that hamster wheel
Right.
that's never ending. And
Mhm.
so 2020 could have been a year of reflection for a lot of people. And then so for COVID, with what COVID-19 did is actually to give us time to reflect, give us time to say, is this like the path that we're on right now? Is this what we want to continue on doing, or
Right.
is there better? What can we do better? And people who never had a chance to sit home with their families, they got to do that.
Mhm.
People, even some people who have businesses, who had to shut down, find it as a blessing. I remember one I guess one like, I don't know, radio station maybe I was listening to, and he was saying that like for maybe a decade he was just going and going and going, and he never was home with his family, and he appreciated that. And so maybe for some of us it was maybe a hard challenging year, but for some of us it was a time of reflection. And so getting our affairs in order in 2021, what does that look like? You want to start or you want me to start?
You can start.
All right. So for me, I'm always gonna talk about the financial aspect of financial home, because that's what I do. I'm a financial services entrepreneur. Where mainly what I do is help people protect, save, and grow their money, and that's primarily being part of the life insurance industry. And as well, I can help people build a retirement through annuities. So, with that being said, like as a former banker, I can tell you right now, the easiest thing that all of us can do is make sure we go back and we review our finances. Okay, so let's do a review about how much did you make last year, how did you spend it, how much did you save of it. Okay, and what is your income goal for this year. So it is important that we do that, so we don't just like again on this what do you call it, hamster wheel, going and going and going with no end goal. And so that's gonna help us. And I also want to add that as we are reviewing our finances, let's make sure that we have beneficiaries on in our bank accounts. Okay, so I know I said that a lot of time, and even last Friday, I wasn't doing an interview where I said that, and some people were shocked. And then when I say people were shocked, I'm talking about educated people, which mean that people who are going to school and they only teach them one thing, but they don't teach them about the necessities, financial things that they need to know to thrive. So it is important that anytime you open a bank account, or even if you have bank accounts right now that do not have beneficiary, go ahead and do that. Add beneficiaries on all that you do, and that's gonna be for a peace of mind. And I know Attorney Daphnée Camilien is gonna add on onto that as well, as to how you can protect your wealth and how you can protect your family. So the second thing for me is that we have to have like realistic like goals. We have to have realistic financial goals. And so that goes back into, kind of reviewing your finances last year to see how did you spend your money? How can you adjust how you're spending? What is, if you have any debt, what is your plan to pay off those debt? And then so one tool that I can share with you all is www.vertex42.com. I'm actually gonna put it in the comment. So this is a great website. If you have maybe credit card debt and you want to figure out, how should I pay them? Should I pay the lower interest first, or should I pay the highest balance first? And so this is a great tool that you can just plug in those credit card information, obviously not your private information, just how much you owe, how much the interest is, and what is your monthly payment, your minimum monthly. And then you can see how you can adjust based on your goal on how soon you want to be debt free. You can see how you can adjust the payment, so that way we can be on a path of financial freedom. Again, I say the first thing is review where you were last year, so you can know what you got to do better for this year. Have a plan, have a financial plan, even your income plan. Because if you're not satisfied with your income plan last year, then therefore you can have a goal this year, and then based on your goal, you can break it down to quarterly, monthly, and weekly. And then so I'm always gonna talk to you guys about, protecting yourself and your family with adequate life insurance. I will not do you any justice by not telling you about how important it is. We know what happened in 2021. Okay. So no one is going to tell us that life insurance is not important. It does not matter how little, okay, that you have, at least have something, whether it's a term policy, a permanent policy, have something that you can protect yourself as well as protect your family, because life insurance is not death insurance. It's not only something that your family benefits from, you can benefit from it too through living benefits. I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe the following week we'll talk about that. I'm just going to give you all the gist today. So that being said, protect yourself, protect your loved one. Make sure that this year is the year that you have life insurance. So, Daphne, let's talk about how can people put their financial home in order, or for put their home in order for 2021.
Yeah, there are several things and several ways that you can do it. If you don't have a will, get a will. That can be on
Yes.
your goals for 2021 as something you want to accomplish. Um, start the research, start the little search, go to Google, look for, different attorneys, look for more information about what a will entails, what you need to do. If you just want, so it doesn't seem, for some people it's scary, but I think if you just look into it and figure it and start seeing what goes into a will, it kind of takes maybe a little scariness out of it, and it is just preparation for the future. And the idea is, if you already have a will, make sure your will is up to date. Make sure you may have left all your stuff to grandma, but unfortunately grandma passed. So do you have a new beneficiary? Or you have a home and you didn't have it originally. So there's, just make sure that your will is updated, and and just get a will, like put it on your list as something to do. Start small and start with the research, and how much does it cost to get a will, and just all the information that you're looking for. If you are interested in getting a trust, it's another way to protect your assets, is to put and you can purchase a home, or so a lot of times people will say, I want to purchase an income property, right? Like that may be on, so they already have a home, or you can even have an apartment, like you're renting, but you want to purchase property, but you don't want to live in the property, you want to rent it out. And so you purchase a property, and you may want to put the property in a trust. That's something that does exist. You can start looking into that. Put that into your put that into what you want. Put that into your plan for 2021. Same thing, or it's not protecting property, but you want to give your kids an extra layer of protection, and to put assets in a trust for them, or whoever. Go ahead and do that, and go ahead and prepare yourself that way. The other thing that I found interesting, that I've never done myself, and that what I will do as a way to protect, that's not necessarily legal related, but it could be, is to categorize your goals for 2021, right? So if you've never set goals for yourself, per every year, go ahead and make a list of goals. But what I do tend to do is just say, oh, I want to do this, and then every year, and then toss it and never go back to it. But this year, what I want to do different is set categories. And I hope, I was reading it about, people setting categories for their goals, and I thought that'd be something interesting and new to do. And so you could have a health category, you could have a financial category, you could have a family category, things you want to accomplish within your family, whatever that is. So that would be, there's also, a personal category, if there's certain accomplishments, if you want to go back to school, or you want to start a business, or you want to get a different job. And then also, after you set your categories and set your goals within the categories, break it down by, quarters, so every 3 months, and then, or four, yeah, every 3 months. And then um, after you do that, you can set it up by every month, and then every week. Like, what are you gonna, accomplish? If you, for example, want to go back to school, let's say you always wanted to be a hairdresser, and so you were thinking about going to cosmetology school. Well, you start by researching, like, the schools in the area, how much do they cost, what does it take, what's the program take. You just do a little bit, until you get to the point where you want to set you're able to achieve your goal. But that's something I'm definitely interested in doing, and I think that would be help everybody be successful in 2021. Back to you, Renee. Oh, you're on mute.
I am on mute. Yeah, it is so important to have goals. These especially in 2021, so we're not blindsided as the year goes through, and we're thinking, what is the year goal? So definitely, let's put our financial affairs in order. Let's get together and have goals. And I also want to ensure that I talked about. So this morning I did a live for my business as a financial services entrepreneur, where I talk about the different type of income that we should have. And when I say that, I'm not saying like just this year you need to have all those three type, but have a goal to eventually, even if it's 1 year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, to have different type of income, so that way you always protect yourself. And then so I explained that it was a personal income, passive income, and portfolio income. Obviously, I'm not gonna go through all of that. If you wanna see the live, you can go to my page. It was just this morning at noon I did this live. But then it's in addition to having personal income basically what you bring in. That it's based on you. You go to work, you get paid, or maybe you have a business, you get paid. That's your personal income. It's important for us to also have passive income. So this is money that you basically earn that money based on previous work that you've done. And then so depend on, maybe that's real estate, as attorney Daphnée Camilien mentioned, or maybe you have different business that you have employees, and then so what they produce is your passive income. So let's have a pathway to have a plan, a financial plan, to take advantage of your personal income so that you can then multiply it to different type of income, whether that be passive or whether that be portfolio. And I just want to invite you that if you are looking into increasing your personal income as well as having a source of passive income, you can definitely reach out to me, and I can talk about how through entrepreneurship and the financial services you can earn both personal, passive, and portfolio income. We have 3 minutes left. If you have any questions, uh type it now. Either myself or attorney Daphne Camillion can answer it for you. Anything with that being said, anything you want to add, Daphne?
No, just I said no and then I started talking. Uh no, yes, I would say yeah, I like that idea, and I think you're right about researching any type of like you said, a portfolio, passive and personal income, and just figuring out what you're interested in. There, remember I was saying earlier we were in technology revolution. There's so much information out, it can be overwhelming. And there's so much ways that there's lots of new ways that people are finding that they can make money. Being at home has certainly showed people there may be other ways that they can get revenue. So just looking into it, everyone's into different stuff. Um, I don't know if you're into hair or making food and taking pictures of your food, and seeing how that can take you into another. If you're into cars, fixing cars, or just love beautiful cars, or just look into it. Take the time. When I say research, I'm not talking about something huge. I'm talking about Google. Figuring out what you like, if you're into video games, and if you can make video games, or maybe there's something you can do. There's something out there for every single person. So just figuring out what you're interested in, and it has to be something. Well, I'm not saying it has to. It just makes more sense than something you're interested in, because you're more willing to do it if it's if it's something you like. So just thinking about that, thinking into having multiple streams. Lots of people lost jobs this year, so a lot of people were on unemployment, or still unemployment. So it's hard times. So maybe finding that's not the way we're taught. When we're younger, we're taught to get a job. So having more than one job and having different streams of income is a goal. I think it should be a goal, and people should at least look into it. Like, what does that look like? How would I change? What does that look like in my life? So maybe something to consider for 2021.
Exactly, and what are the investment requirement? So yes, so it's 8:59. Give shout out to all of you who has been live with us in this conversation. We appreciate you. We hope that the information that we shared this day was valuable to you. And we always ask you that if you have any questions, type it, or if there is a topic that you want us to discuss at a future date, feel free to let us know. So shout out to my sister Christine Renee. She has a passive income with Forever Living, where she sells health and wellness products to help us thrive. So if you have a goal of losing weight this year, go ahead and reach out to her, or of staying healthy. I don't want to say losing weight, then I don't want you to call my sister and say she said I can lose weight. Okay, don't sue me. Also, that being said, thank you all for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Where we'll be live in conversation discussing latest news, things that matter to you, and things that can help you thrive. Thanks, Attorney Daphnée Camilien, for all the great information that you shared with us. That definitely great resources. Any last word?
No, yes. If you
I
have
love
if you have an idea for a topic, or there's something that you're interested in that you'd like us to talk about, please drop it in Renee's DM, or you can reply to this video and let us know, and we will go ahead and try to talk about that the next time we meet.
Definitely, definitely. And then again, we are here for you. So even if something that may not be in our expertise, being that I'm financial services and attorney chameleon, like the whole thing, attorney wise.
Mhm.
But then we can always bring people in those fields who can talk about it. And so, even if maybe you do want to be part of the show, go ahead and reach out to us and see if there's a topic that you are expert in and that you would like to discuss. Obviously, we'll review it. But then have a good night, y'all. René Antoine signing out. One love. See you guys next week, Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.